What's cracking YouTube? This your boy JB, man, and we are back again with another one. Hey, we finna go up to Sacramento, man, California's capital. Big gang war between Garden Blocc Crips versus Oak Park Bloods. I don't know nothing about it. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know nothing about it. So I'm gonna find out about it. We're gonna find out together, I guess. And yeah, man, here we go. Let's get to the money.
Heading back to Sacramento. I've covered several Sacramento gangs before, including the North High.
That's one thing I do know, right? Oak Park is Mozzie. And I want to say Garden Blocc is like, oh, it's some OG rapper from that used to rap. SLO-Be, I think. Let's see.
Gangster Crips, the Del Paso Heights Bloods, the Oak Park Bloods, and various South Sacramento neighborhoods. But today, we're focusing on another Southside gang, the Garden Blocc Crips. Sacramento War. The Garden Blocc Crips are one of Sacramento's few Crip-affiliated gangs in a city dominated by blood sets. Blood and Pyru gangs are spread across different parts of Sacramento, making Crip sets significantly outnumbered. The Garden Blocc Crips are based in South Sacramento, near neighborhoods like the Meadowview Bloods, the Detroit Bloods, and G-Mob, which originated from the G Parkway complex before evolving into multiple factions. The Garden Blocc Crips are divided into three main sections: 29th Street, which is claimed by rapper SLO-Be; 24th Street, home to rappers like Brother Lynch Hung and X-Rated, whom I covered in the previous episode, and
Hey, Brother Lynch Hung and X-Rated, the original, crazy ass rappers. There's no other way to put it. They're
21st
just crazy, monstrous, murderous, genius rhymes, bruh. Y'all gotta look into it, bruh.
it's claimed by rapper SLO-Be. 24th Street, home to rappers like Brother Lynch Hung and X-Rated, whom I covered in the previous episode, and 21st Street. The 29th Street set is the largest. Unlike some areas in Southern California where racial tensions between gangs exist, Sacramento is quite different. The Garden Blocc Crips share their turf with Mexican and Tongan communities, maintaining strong relationships with both. The Mexican gang members in the area align with the Norteños and refer to themselves as the Garden's Crips. This alliance between Norteños and Crips is sometimes referred to as C14, symbolizing their unity. The Tongan gang in the area, known as TCG, operates somewhat independently, but is closely aligned with the 29th Street Garden Blocc Crips. Although they have their own clique, they maintain strong ties with 29th Street members. The Garden Blocc Crips also have alliances with several other Crip-affiliated gangs, including the Valley High Crips, Nogales Crips, and North Highland Gangsta Crips. Historically, the Garden Blocc Crips have had rivalries with several South Sacramento gangs, such as the Valley High Pirates, Meadowview Bloods, G-Mob, Detroit Bloods, and various other blood-affiliated groups. However, with the newer generation of gang members, many of these rivalries have faded. Most Southside gangs have formed alliances, often uniting against common enemies like the Oak Park Bloods, whom many South Sacramento gangs strongly oppose. Now, let's look at some past conflicts involving the Garden Blocc Crips, as well as some more recent events. Baby Insane Incident. In one incident, Kenneth was hanging out at Alicia's house in G Parkway, drinking and smoking. As the night went on, more people arrived, and they eventually ran out of supplies. Among those who showed up was Baby Insane from 24th Street Garden Blocc Crips. Baby Insane suggested that he, Vernon, and Kenneth go out to get more. After walking a few blocks, he asked them for money to buy the product, but they refused. He told them to wait while he went to get the supplier. When Baby Insane returned, he wasn't alone. He brought another individual with him, leading Vernon and Kenneth into an alley. He suddenly pulled out a gun and demanded they hand over everything they had. Before they could react, Baby Insane opened fire. Kenneth was killed while Vernon survived the attack. Later, Vernon identified Baby Insane as the shooter and provided a description to the police. When questioned, Baby Insane's own little brother ended up revealing crucial information, telling police that Baby Insane was known to carry a firearm regularly. He also confirmed that his brother had used the same weapon in the shooting. As a result, Baby Insane was sentenced to 84 years to life. Another incident occurred on January 11, 2004, when Mario was found slumped over in an SUV at an apartment complex. Witnesses reported that a blue car pulled up and opened fire, killing him. The shooting was linked to Sereno gang members. Darius and Greg, both affiliated with the 29th Street Garden Blocc Crips, were involved, along with Matthew, a Norteño. The three men had allegedly been on a mission to push Serenos out of the area. They targeted Mario simply because he was wearing a blue shirt, assuming he was a rival gang member. Eventually, Darius and his brother Donovan were arrested. During questioning, Darius cooperated with authorities, claiming he had no idea the shooting was going to happen and that he was just an unwilling participant. He stated that Greg was the shooter, while Matthew gave the orders. As a result, Greg was sentenced to 31 years, while Matthew received 22 years. Darius, despite rejecting a plea deal for 22 years, ultimately ended up in a worse position due to his cooperation with law enforcement. On February 24, 2004, Marquis from 29th Street shot Nolan from G-Mob for allegedly causing trouble with younger members of his crew. The shooting in G Parkway. On March 28th.
Are these all like Crip on Crip? I'm confused.
Big TC from 29th Street knocked out a Meadowview blood named William. The very next day, on March 29th, Sabrina and her brother Roy were leaving her apartment in G Parkway when their vehicle was sprayed with over 10 bullets. Both were hit but survived. Sabrina got a clear look at the shooters and later identified Sergio and Jarvel in a police lineup. The following day, while police were investigating the shooting in G Parkway, they arrested a young 29th Street member named Reno on an unrelated robbery charge. In an attempt to avoid jail time, Reno offered to cooperate with authorities. He revealed that he had witnessed a blood named James retaliate against Sergio and Jarvel by returning fire. Reno snitched so extensively that police ended up relocating him for his safety. He even testified in court, stating that the attack on Sabrina and Roy was retaliation for Big TC knocking out William. Both shooters, Sergio and Jarvel, received life sentences for their involvement in the shooting. On April 26, 2005, in the early evening, Kevin was walking toward his apartment in Parkview Apartments on Manson Way when he was suddenly ambushed from behind and fatally shot by a man named Jim. After being arrested shortly after the shooting, Jim told the police, "I had to do it. I had to protect my kids." His children had been harassed by several Crip members at school, leading to multiple altercations. On the day of the incident, Jim's wife received a call informing her that their kids had gotten into a fight with some 29th Street Crips, who allegedly promised to retaliate later. Later that day, Jim saw Crips near his apartment, assumed they were coming after his children, and took action. He was later sentenced to 21 years in prison. In July 2008, Alicia lived in an apartment complex with her sister and her boyfriend Mario, who had recently moved from Oakland. The complex housed several Crip members, mainly from 29th Street and the North Highland Gangster Crips. On July 25th,
a lot of people from Oakland like to say blood. They don't mean nothing by it either. It's just what they say.
2008, Alicia and several of her female relatives and friends were at her apartment when they heard a knock at the door. 3 Crips from the complex were standing outside. Inside the apartment, Mario got into a heated exchange with one of the Crips named Castle. Being from the Bay Area, Mario frequently used the word blood in casual conversation, a common slang among Bay Area residents, regardless of gang affiliation. However, the Crips took offense, leading to a confrontation. The argument escalated when Castle and Mario took it outside. Castle pulled out a gun, but Mario, unfazed, said, "Man, I'm from Oakland. You ain't scaring me. I see straps all the time." Castle then shouted back, "Bro, I'll shoot you right now." Mario responded, "If that's how you feel, do what you gotta do." At that point, the Crips surrounded Mario, started pistol whipping him, and jumped him. As he tried to fight back, he managed to wrestle one of them to the ground, but the group overpowered him. When he attempted to escape, they opened fire, hitting him multiple times, including a shot to his shoulder. As Mario lay on the ground, the Crips walked away yelling, "I told you." The brutal assault and shooting left Mario blind in his right eye and suffering from severe nerve damage. Later in the hospital, he identified all 3 attackers. Castle was sentenced to life in prison, while Josh and Matt, the other Crips involved, also received prison sentences. In the early hours of October 23rd, 2009.
Was there like an issue that led up to that though? Like, okay, they got new residents from Oakland, but like, were they like, I don't know, was the party loud or something? I don't know. That's just
a 29th Street Garden Blocc Crip named Tiny Weed was shot 6 times in the parking lot of Center Court, a nightclub owned by former NBA player Chris Webber. At the club, Tiny Weed was approached by a group who greeted him with, "What's up, blood?" In response, Tiny Weed replied, "What's up, cuz?" A common Crip greeting. The individuals confronting him were later identified as Oak Park rapper Lil Nick and another Oak Park blood named Hot Boy Sean. Upon hearing Tiny Weed's response, Sean shouted, "This Oak Park Bloods," before Tiny Weed was shot multiple times. The day after the shooting, Sean texted his baby mama, writing, "I messed up. I think it's over. I didn't mean to do it." Police uncovered this message after questioning her. Witnesses later identified Lil Nick as the shooter and Sean as his accomplice. However, some, including Oak Park rivals like rapper CML, claimed that Lil Nick was not actually the one who pulled the trigger. Tiny Weed was a well-respected Crip and had strong ties with several South Sacramento gangs. His death was widely referenced in diss tracks, including The Truth by Mozzie, where he taunted Oak Park's role in the killing. Both Lil Nick and Hot Boy Sean were sentenced to life for the murder. The feud between the Oak Park Bloods and Garden Blocc Crips had already claimed multiple lives on both sides, with several diss tracks fueling the conflict. In June 2016, an Oak Park affiliate named True was shot and killed outside his home. Just weeks later, on July 4th, 29th Street Crip member Stunna Nook, well respected throughout South Sacramento, was killed in front of his children. Before his death, Stunna Nook had been repeatedly targeted in diss tracks by Mozzie and his camp, both before and after he was killed. In contrast, Stunna Nook was honored in multiple tribute songs by rappers like CML and other South Sacramento artists. By the summer of 2017, tensions were still high. 29th Street rapper SLO-Be and Mozzie became embroiled in a rap feud.
That's crazy, bruh. I mean, this been going on since before. I think the earliest was like 2000. Dang. No idea.
Releasing diss tracks against each other. This conflict escalated when SLO-Be filmed a music video in South Sacramento, only for it to be shot up by Mozzie's affiliates. Some of those involved in the shooting later turned informants. The rivalry between these factions remains active and continues to impact the streets. On April 3rd, 2022, several Garden Blocc Crips were involved in what has been labeled the deadliest mass shooting in Sacramento history. The attack...
Wait, is this the one in the night happened at like the nightclub or something? Let's see. I'm gonna rewind this. What?
The streets. On April 3rd, 2022, several Garden Blocc Crips were involved in what has been labeled the deadliest mass shooting in Sacramento history. The attack took place outside a nightclub, leaving 12 people injured and 6 dead. Black Crip members involved in this case continue to face legal proceedings, asserting a claim of self-defense.
Bro, you can't assert self-defense when you just shooting into a crowd of people. At least that's how I feel, bro. Like, I want to say they had like automatic weapons. I get it when you're in that life, but goodness gracious, bro. I remember hearing about that, thinking if it was a mass shooting like that, it's unfortunate that we know who did it, but it turned out to be some gang stuff, which is wild work, bro. But anyway, that's a good little history lesson on the war between the Garden Blocc Crips and the Oak Park Bloods. I mean, it's way more extensive and long than I thought it was, to say the least. I guess it was cool info, but I don't know. I didn't need to know all of that. But it was cool, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section below, man. Hey, until next time, this your boy JB. Peace.